Steel boots stomping, crashing the floor. Two wild Yinzers kicking through the door. Loud like a jag-off at a pins game fight. Brace yourself, this ride ain't polite. Two dumb Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. Tales from the burg with a hint of mayhem. Pierogi powered, nothing can constrain them. Knocking back stories like an icy cold brew. You never know what these two might spew. Two dumb Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. From the bug with a hint of mayhem. Pierogi powered, nothing can constrain them. Knocking back stories like an icy cold brew. You never know what these two might spew. Two dumb Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. Rivers collide where the laughs always flow. Black and gold thunder everywhere they go. The madcap kings breaking every mold. With two dumb Yinzers, the stories don't get old. Two dumb Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice.
Good morning, everybody. Yeah, welcome back to the show. This is episode 793 of the Two Dumb Yinzers. I want to say this morning to everybody, welcome back for this Steelers pregame episode. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the show. We got a big game. We have a big game tomorrow, Mike. We have a preseason game, the first home preseason game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We'll get into that today. Also, we'll get into how yesterday's joint practice with Tampa Bay went. Got a big game, Mike. It's, I got to be honest with you. And I don't want to get fully into what happened yesterday, but it looks like all the same people that were out last week are going to be out this week, with an exception of Nick Herbig, apparently, depending on how his performance went yesterday. And I haven't heard any update, but the last thing I heard was Nick Herbig might be playing tomorrow night. But again, before I get into all the details of what went on yesterday, we didn't do as well as we would have liked to see the team do in the joint practice against Tampa Bay yesterday. And and I don't want to say reward, but what the players got was a day off on Saturday night. I got to be honest with you. I mean, if you don't look good again, it's preseason, but you're running out of practice time. And again, these are simulated games. These preseason games are, an opportunity for these guys to get out there and just get back to the feel of the speed of the game. And, and we talked a little bit about the availability of the players leading up to this game and who was out last week. And again, we only have one more preseason game after this. So, that this is just a concern of mine because, Mike, we've talked about this. We don't want to be in week 3 when the guys are, in week, still playing like they should have been playing in preseason, shaking some rust off. Again, we'll get more into the details. It didn't go great yesterday at the joint practice. We'll get into that in just a moment. I do want to say good morning to Tortilla on the board. Tortilla says our offense was good, but our defense got carved up. I guess we played a bunch of zone. Yeah, we have a bunch of information. Good morning, Tortilla. We have a bunch of information today from things that happened at the joint practice. And again, it didn't seem like things went great. Matter of fact, it went so good for Tampa Bay, they're not even going to give Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans any time tomorrow. They're going to let them take the day off because they did so well. And our players did the opposite, and they are also getting the day off. So, again, I don't know. It just seems foreign to me. These aren't kids. they don't perform bad, you can't make them run laps. Excuse me. But if they don't perform well, I would have no problem getting the guys back on the field. That way they could prepare and be ready for the next time around. But this has kind of always been Mike Tomlin's, he's kind of been a guy. He's one of the guys. And I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but I just do know that it's odd in my life. I've never really seen anybody give all their starters all the time off. And I guess you can't say it's all the starters. It's not, but all your big name guys. I don't know what the goal is by giving. Again, these are going to be the guys that are on your field every week in, week out. And I guess the argument is, well, they're going to be on the field every week in, week out. Why have them playing in preseason? Again, because when the games matter, you kind of want them to have the rust shaken off. And again, yesterday when the starters stepped on the field, albeit a practice, they didn't look that good. And Tampa Bay, they carved up the defense, as Tortilla's saying on the board. The offense didn't get to run as much as they wanted to because I guess Tampa Bay kept running this blitz package, and things just didn't go our way. Unless we're so far advanced that we're playing mind games with everybody else. And coach is like, all right, well, we'll just, this went this way. We're not going to play anybody. I don't know. I don't understand the concept of what's happening. But at the end of the day, next week, let's say they do play, Mike. I can't imagine that the, starters are going to play more than a series. Or, again, just from what I've seen so far, it doesn't look like they're going to certainly get an overload in the last preseason game. And, again, this is the reason. They don't play preseason just to do it. It's an opportunity for players to prepare in game situation and step into the huddle, step up to the line with a different team across from you. And, and again, all these guys are really good. But at the end of the day, when this team doesn't finish as well as we want them to, we'll say, well, what could they have done more to prepare? What could they have done more to be prepared? And again, this kind of falls short for me, as a lot of times people complain, some of Tomlin's, just the way he does things. And I don't agree with everything that they say, but this in particular thing right here, I just don't understand not getting your guys to practice in a game situation. Yes, yesterday you were playing a different team and it was a joint practice. However, it's not a game situation. So in my opinion, guys, I think that stinks. And it's, I want to see the new guys as much as everybody else. I want to see Jalen Ramsey on the field, but ultimately I just think it only benefits, and give them a series. And if you're afraid to send your football players out to get injured, then again, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to think, guys, but this is what's going on. We'll get into all the details of the joint practice yesterday and much, much more. Today is going to be slightly abbreviated. It's going to be about an hour show. Mike got some plans through the weekend, and we're going to respect that and make sure he gets to them. So what we're going to do, guys, we're going to dive right into it. Good morning to our Tortilla. Good morning to RB on the board. Good morning to everybody. Welcome to the show. We have a Steeler game tomorrow. That's right, a big home Steeler preseason game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This game will be at about 7 o'clock tomorrow at Acrisure Stadium. The team did have a joint practice with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers yesterday. We'll get into the details on that, guys. Good morning, Mike. How are you today, sir? I can't hear you.
I am good. I'm not as concerned as the joint practice as you are. I get where you're coming from. I get it. I'm just not as concerned. But I was just going through and looking. Philly didn't practice any of their starters
when we win Super Bowls
last year.
When we win Super Bowls, then we'll have that conversation.
But that was before they won the Super Bowl. That was they collapsed the year before. Didn't play anyone in the preseason and then go on and win the Super Bowl.
That's what I'm saying.
We collapsed last year. Don't play anyone in the preseason.
Are we on the
cusp
of winning
the Super Bowl?
Are we on the cusp of winning the Super Bowl like Philadelphia was? That's my point. We're not.
They weren't. They went out and got a bunch of guys in the offseason.
They did obviously because they wanted.
So we did too. We're following their pattern, Ryan. It's going to follow us too.
So we want to be Philadelphia. That's what we're going to do. We're just going to continue to be the Eagles. Franchise has been so great, like the Steelers. We're just going to board everything and be the Eagles from now on. Is that the idea?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
just checking.
We're gonna copy the Eagles, brother.
Just checking. Mike, let's get to the board. There are a lot of good messages popping up, and I don't want to miss anybody. Again, today is going to be a short, sweet, roughly about an hour show. So let's just hang in there, guys. We'll get into it. Tortilla said this. He said, I think the coaches probably feel comfortable with our top DBs and man-to-man, but wanted to see things they aren't comfortable in.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Too. They played a lot of zone from like because you weren't are allowed to really report anything on performances and what you kind of saw, but they hinted at they had a lot more zone than man.
Who we did?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, trying things out. That's what one of the couple of I think the guys on defense were saying. They played a lot more zone than they had in practice all week or all training camp.
Good morning. I do want to say good morning to R. Barley. Hey, man, how you been this week, sir? R. Barley says this is all BS. No one wants to play anyone. People are putting way too much into this. He follows it up by saying, DK, reporter, not player, said the Steelers offense won 7 shots against Tampa Bay 6-1. And they did. That is the bright spot out of this. We'll dig deeper into that in just a second. Everything coming out is lip service and warm and fuzzy, so both teams can feel good. Tortilla says, I know you have to take what Caboli says with a 1 pound grain of salt, but he did say the red zone offense is looking really good, and we haven't had that in years. RB says, Ryan, agree. I think the offense needs some real reps. Aaron or Pat or DK might not need it, but other guys can benefit to see how they operate as a unit. Absolutely. The offensive line needs it with the starting quarterback at some point, because there are going to be 50,000 people screaming here in a couple of weeks, and you're trying to hear the quarterback's cadence. And, so again, the gel factor. Players can certainly gel in these kind of games in front of the crowd in live action with referees and scoreboards and music and sounds and everything else. So, again, that's just kind of my beef. Good morning, John. John says Tomlin's decision puts the first quarter of the season at risk. The Army says train as you are going to fight. I agree. You got to put yourself in the situation. And again, maybe Aaron Rodgers don't need it, but maybe the guys around it need that with Aaron. RB says, speaking of following the pattern, Andy Weedle, who built the Philly team, said the quarterback isn't nowhere near a lock with the first round pick. It's always been in his philosophy to get a QB to fit what's his place. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the show. This is the preview show of the Steelers and Tampa Bay Buccaneers game that's going to happen tomorrow at 7 o'clock p.m. right here in Acrisure Stadium, guys. We'll be 2/3. Mike, tomorrow night after the game, we'll be 2/3 of the way through preseason. We'll only have Carolina next, then a week off, and then we're getting ready for the Jets on the road. So, we're that close, guys. So if Mike Tomlin feels this team is that close to be ready to play regular season football as is, so be it. We're going to find out. We surely it will show here in a couple of weeks. But let's get into some of the things that happened yesterday. My big Ben Roethlisberger was in the house for the joint practice between the Buccaneers and the Steelers yesterday. It was pretty cool seeing Ben out there talking to the guys, talking to Aaron Rodgers. Always a weird sight, Mike, because of what went down 15 years ago in Dallas in Super Bowl 45. So it was crazy. But anyway, you slice it, seeing Ben there is not an abnormal thing, Mike, for a situation like this. So that was cool to see. But let's get into some of the.
It gives Cam Hayward and TJ Watt an opportunity to see what Super Bowl rings look like.
Exactly. Mike, not only I mentioned to Baker Mayfield, he will not be playing tomorrow because he performed so well against our defense in the joint practice. The head coach gave him the day off. And also Mike Evans couldn't be covered and won most of his battles versus Jalen Ramsey. Evans won't play Saturday as well because of his performance. This seems to be a common thing for Tampa Bay. They do things well, things successful, and they got the day off. And this is certainly what happened. And again, every player that was off last week for the Steelers is off again this week, including the 4 or 5 players that were on the injury list. They are also out. So we're going to see the same exact team basically that we've seen last week and the same exact stuff. Some things that I do want to see differently this week, Mike, is obviously we have to see some things in the run game. The run game didn't look that great yesterday against Tampa Bay in the joint practice. So apparently Tampa Bay kept running this zone that was blitz that was making blitz package that was making it hard for the Steelers to practice their running plays. But that was what was happening. I expect to see a lot of running game tomorrow, Mike, against Tampa Bay. I know that Caleb Johnson is certainly. Everybody's just chomping at the bit to see what he has because he's going to ultimately be a big part of this offense any way you slice it, whether our backfield is healthy, whether there's injuries. Caleb Johnson is a big part of this backfield this football season, Mike. So I think that we have to. At this point, again, I'm not quite sure what he's doing, but I think we definitely have to see the running game, not only for the running backs but for the offensive line as well.
Yeah, and that's what the reports from some of the linemen were coming out. It's like the blitz got us. We weren't prepared for them to run blitzes that way, and like you said, I think we're going to see a heavy dose of the run game. like you said, not just for Caleb Johnson, but for that line as well. Because I think everyone's playing. Even Siumala's going to play. So we're going to see that whole starting offensive line out there. Let them get into a rhythm and see what they can do out there. And then, like Tomlin said of Caleb Johnson, like he needs, kind of like Aaron Rodgers said of Roman Wilson, get out of your head. You've been playing this game your entire life without overthinking it. Just go out there and play. And hopefully Caleb Johnson got that message. You know, when the head coach calls you out in the media, which is very rare here in Pittsburgh and even rare in the NFL, like you get caught up by that. Okay. You better take that to heart, saying, okay, I need to step back, reevaluate what I did in game one, and go out there and just play like I did in college. And that's why I got drafted. And they want me to run the ball like I did in college. So just go out there and play on feel, play on your, a natural ability. Don't overthink. Don't get into paralysis by analysis. And so I'm excited to see that. And, that's one of the good things that came out of this during practice. Like, okay, they threw something at us that they probably wouldn't game plan for a preseason game anyway, but we're going to go out there and we know what we need to work on. Let's go work on it. I want to see this offensive line firing off the ball tomorrow. If not, they need to get their head out of their asses.
Absolutely. And, I expect to see a lot, Mike. And as I said, the Steelers would have liked to run the ball more, but the way that the Tampa Bay kept playing their defense, they kind of they had to adjust to what Tampa Bay was doing, which I totally get. I totally understand. But you know what? This is why you're in these situations. This is why they put these games together, Mike. And this is why these games don't matter. They are practice games. Let me give you some more scoop on the game practice yesterday, Mike. The Steelers offense starts fast but fizzles late was the narrative yesterday. It looked good to come out to start, but as the practice went, it kind of fizzled out. The last drive, I guess it was a big disaster for the Steelers. They was trying to get a first down, and in 4 plays they had 4 incomplete passes, and that ended the offensive practice for the Steelers at that point, going 0 for 4 on the pass plays, not able to get a first down. So again, just a couple things like this are the things that are staring at you in the face after yesterday's joint practice, Mike. What else was there? I don't recall what I wanted to do next, but Mike, so it was the thing I got from this was it really wasn't encouraging as far as what it was that you've seen out there. But at the end of the day, you could always chalk it up and say, well, it's a preseason situation. It's a joint practice. Teams are doing this all around the league. This means nothing. And the team could come out and play 100% different, in week 1 and be just fine. But again, the things that I'm seeing, Mike, from yesterday, just all the little situations. And as they did say on the board yesterday, they did really well in the 7-on-7s. It ended up being 6-1, I think, in the way of the Steelers. But I got to be honest with you, that was the one positive thing that I did hear come out of yesterday's joint practice.
Yeah, that was one of the bright spots. And what sucks about this joint practice, like you weren't able to, there was no footage. And you're just trying to piece everything together from Tampa Bay's beat reporters and the Steelers beat reporters.
Yeah.
It's like, I want to know, like, how badly was Jalen Ramsey being beat? Then you hear, like, oh, they really wasn't that physical of a practice with the receivers and corners. They really weren't bumping and hitting each other. Like, okay, then that's going to affect the one way someone plays, or, is that just what someone's saying to cover for someone they're reporting? It's like it's hard to gain the true information, but there's a glimmer of truth in some of this, so what they need to work on. And it sounds like, if we go zone, we got to work a whole of a lot on that because they've been doing a lot of man-to-man and team-on-team practice. So it was nice to do, probably for the coaches, like I think Tortilla said on the board, throw a wrinkle into them and see how they respond to it. And you can see, okay, that's what needs worked on more, is working on our zone. So there's some good things that came out of this. You know what you need to work on. Some other things, I don't know if they're concerning, but if they keep propping up, that should be a concern.
Absolutely. And again, it is what it is. Every team gets the opportunity to play these kind of joint practices, and they do. And even yesterday, Mike Vrabel gets jacked up in the New England and Minnesota joint practice as they get into a big scuffle, and Mike Vrabel gets thrown down to the ground.
This is twice he's done that.
This guy's always on the ground. But again, Mike, it is what it is. Everybody is just ready to get back out there. The energy's flowing, and this is what you see this time of year. You usually see it between the two New York teams. They always seem to be scuffling it out between the Jets and the Giants.
Yeah,
right around this time of year.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Well, I'm not surprised that there weren't any scuffles between these two teams.
Yeah.
You got a decent amount of veterans on both sides. Like, can we just get out of this?
Mike Tomlin says this: we have to write that story. We got enough talent. We've got enough schematics to do big things. When I say big things, I'm talking about historic things. So, Mike, they have an idea in their head what they want to do this year.
Yeah.
Again, what we seen last week was a bunch of guys. Most of them aren't even going to be on this team in a couple of weeks. Yesterday, again, a joint practice. We're getting down to it, Mike. Maybe some starters might get a series next week. Who knows? I don't know what to expect at this point, but it is something we will keep up on. Let's get back to the board, though, Mike, because a lot of great messages coming through, and I don't want to miss anybody today. So I'm going to go right about here where RB says, speaking of following a pattern, Andy Weedle, who boot Philadelphia, said, okay, we did get that one. I'm sorry. Tortilla says that, John, if a couple preseason drives are the difference between a good or a bad team, then we're in trouble. I highly doubt a few drives about against Spacey's scheme is going to make a difference. But let me ask you, though, don't you feel in anything you do in life, if you practice a little bit more, you get a little bit better. If you practice a little closer to the game, you get a little bit more of an edge. I mean, when you're studying, do you say, I'm good. I get all A's, and I'll be okay on test day. No, I mean, as smart as you are, you still have to sharpen your knowledge of what it is that you're being tested on, and you have to be prepared. You can't just go in off of the knowledge that you had from other tests, because this test is different, as is every game in the NFL. So this is just my point. It's not a football thing. It's a preparation thing. And then when the season comes around and I say, well, they don't look like they're prepared, people look at me like I'm crazy. What do you mean they're not prepared? It's the little things, guys, the little things. And again, anything. If Mike and I were going to go do anything today in a competitive manner, I wouldn't feel good because we're not in competitive shape. And
Speak for yourself, brother.
And these guys, Mike, I mean, they're in great shape. But to be in that competitive shape is something different. Again, that stands out when the game times do start, the 1 o'clock games that we wait for all year, guys. Let's get back on the board here, though, Mike. I do see RB. Also, let's not forget Tomlin likes to overthink things and think he's playing 4D chess, even though everyone knows what's really going on. Tanking a practice isn't beyond his capability.
That's never mind.
Go ahead.
I say that's just a bit absurd.
Okay, that's interesting. Everybody got their opinions. John says football is a team sport. Success means working together. It isn't tennis, which isn't exactly. If you didn't have to depend on somebody else, it's totally fine. I wouldn't care if you went out there and practiced at all. I mean, you're depending on yourself. You know what you want to do, but until you can read the back of everyone's mind and know what everybody's going to do next, I don't think that that you could be lax, because again, these are the best players in the world that you're going to be playing against over the next 4 or 5 months. So being prepared, I think, is a big key here. RB says, look at all the times he tries to play the injury crap at quarterback to try and throw the other team's game plans off. Like this game plan, where are we at here? This game plan would change at all anyways. It's not even just quarterback. Tortilla says, I'd rather risk being a little rusty week 1 than risking injury to your starters before week 1. I mean, that's going to be the debate, Tortilla. And not everybody's going to agree. Not everybody's going to disagree. And that's just kind of where I'm at. I agree with you on a lot of things. I just think getting the guys out there in a real game situation is just kind of something that you should want to do if you're getting ready to go out and perform. Again, do you let does a band go out and not sharpen their tune? Do they not sharpen their keys? Do they not prepare their notes, their on their guitars and their drums? You got to have everything down to a T. You're a professional. You're the top of the line. Nobody's better than you. So again, would a guitar player walk out on the stage without tuning his guitar? Never. That's the preparation. It's the little things you've done a million times, but again,
I don't know. It's like they're practicing every day. Every day they're practicing. So 4 snaps in a preseason game, is that Are those 4 snaps going to be the difference between
The fact that
completing
people
a
are
pass in
arguing
week 1 or
against
not?
it is what blows my mind, because again, a 4-snap practice shouldn't be a big deal. This should be something that the
If they're
guys
already
that are
practicing every
professional
day.
athletes should be able to do very easily and complete the task. And if they can't, what do we have on our team? What kind of guys are we working with here? But again, it's anything. If you were a musician, I wouldn't let you step out onto the stage without tuning your
But
guitar.
you're making that analogy like these guys aren't practicing. They are practicing.
Like, you don't think people that play their guitar don't play every single day of their life, but they still tune up and practice before they go out on that stage?
Yeah,
every single
what they're
time.
doing. That's what they did for 2 weeks up in St. Vincent's, was practice every day, and that's what they're doing now that they're back in the team facility, is practicing every
I just
day.
don't understand what the problem is with wanting the guys to have practice. That's all. And then when the team doesn't do good in the regular season, and then it's this, that, and the other, it couldn't be not being prepared, because again, they just they're not playing. But we do have to move along. We are on an abbreviated episode today, so let's get back to the board here. Tortilla says, I don't think playing against the basic schemes and backups is enough to knock off the rust anyway. If we're rusty, we're going to still see it in week 1 regardless. I mean, if these guys are cool with that, I have no argument.
This is why Tortilla and I we're like this. We're in the same wavelength.
RB says that was the worst part of the game. Game 1 was Johnson didn't touch the ball until the Hammond-Hager line was in. They couldn't block a cock at a lesbian orgy.
Caleb Johnson started the game.
Well, that's not what he's saying, but what's your okay? You and RB have to go at it about something. I've seen you. I've seen you rebut every single thing he said.
I like RB, so I got to give him grief.
All right, well, just go ahead.
But no, like Caleb Johnson was
something
in
on your
there.
chest. Get it off.
No, he was in there. I'm just pointing out.
Well, he's not saying that he wasn't. I mean, he's saying that he got a majority of people that weren't the starting offensive line. But again, that ain't his fault either when you don't play everybody. But let's move on. RB says Metcalf rolled his ankle but didn't miss anything. And again, these guys can't make it through 4 plays. Is this what do you really have, in my opinion, guys? Tortilla says at RB, the NFL and media will be protecting Hunter and Sanders like they're literally children. Vegas says perfect practice makes perfect. And that's anything in life. Again, anything. I don't know why it stops here. In sports, where you have to practice the most at a lot of things. Tortilla says, depends what you're practicing against, and you can practice all day, but if it's bad practice, then it's BS. We saw what Kenny Pickett looked like the next big thing in the preseason, and then shit the bed next year. I mean, it wasn't like we didn't see the writing on the wall with that coming. I got to be honest with you. Say what you want about Kenny, but I think most of us seen the writing on the wall. John said, this discussion, like so many other about the Steelers, will be resolved in time. What's up, Cody? Cody says, what's up, fellas? Always great seeing Cody on the board. Tortilla said, hell, Skylar Thompson looked good. Do we think his doing that against the starters? I don't know. Preseason is just for backups, get them adjusted. Cody said, would you enter a golf tournament without hitting the drive range? These guys never played together. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Along those lines, yes. Tortilla, I've seen too many players ball out in preseason and then absolutely suck in the regular season. Just seems like a risk to have the football players play football, I guess is what's being said today. And I guess that's the theme today. Going into the game tomorrow, Mark, good morning to Mark Malone on the board. Always great seeing Mr. Malone. Malone says the roadies tune the guitar. You know what I'm saying, though. You get the point. you get the point. These musicians don't not practice. I'm related to musicians, and believe me, they play all the time. There's nothing that musicians love more than to play their instrument, and practice is aplenty. No two ways about it. Cody says, I heard they still played like shit yesterday. They did. There was they did good on the 7-on-7s. Everything else, I guess the offense looked good to start, and then it fizzled. The defense got carved up. Sticky B, what you know about Sticky B? Sticky B says, happy Friday, fellas. And then RB said, it's not like this team has a history of being prepared in the past 15 years. I agree. Johnson got the vast majority of his carries behind guys who won't be there. I agree. For whatever reason, you and Mike bump heads on that. But we are gonna have to move on, guys. This is the Steelers Tampa Bay Buccaneers game preview, guys. 7:00 tomorrow at Acrisure Stadium. We are going to be playing our first home preseason game of the year. Then off to Carolina next week. Then a week off, and then it's go time. Getting ready for the Jets, guys. All kind of things to get into today. we're going to get more into, Mike, the over-unders, the what players you are focusing on watching this week as the episode moves along. But there are a few things that I do want to go over here real quick, Mike. I guess Andy Weedle was saying this. Andy Weedle says the 26th quarterback class seems to be a lot better, Mike, than the 2025 quarterback class. Of course, the Steelers are, being projected to go after a quarterback early in next year's draft, Mike, here in Pittsburgh in April. I know there's a couple guys that you have your eyes on, and I know that I certainly fell in love with one of those guys down at South Carolina after watching his highlight reel, Mike. How do you feel about this up-and-coming class of quarterbacks into the 2026 draft?
Yeah, there's depth in this draft class. There's a lot. There's, like 4 guys that can easily be first-rounders, and there's guys that, that probably will fall to the second round, that second, maybe even into the third, that can be really good starters or capable starters. So it's a deep class. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Arch, if he's coming out or not. Like Grandpappy already said, he ain't coming out. Lenora Sellers, I think that he still has a couple of years of eligibility, and he had the opportunity to leave for more money, and him and his dad said, no, we're going to stay here. So those two might be staying in college. So if that happens, the draft class, it's going to be a little bit weaker, but not like the Kenny Pickett, Sam Howell, Malik Willis type draft class. There's still going to be guys in there, but you're losing 2 really good guys, and then you're going to have to see how Drew Aller plays this year. Who's the guy up in Michigan?
Drew Aller, boy, is he sure going to be the X factor this year, Mike? Penn State's getting a nice start ranking. I knew you.
We need to be number 25, brother.
And Drew Aller, Mike, is going to be such a big story this year because of where the Penn State Nittany Lions are starting the season. So this is going to be really interesting to see how the season goes. I think they're going to do fine, Mike, until you get to one of the 2 games that they never do good against. They're probably going to be 8-0, 9-0, just like they always are starting the season. And then they'll face, if anything different than that happens, I'll be surprised. Penn State will make the playoffs because of that again. And I think Penn State's going to have a pretty good year. But Mike, I do think that Drew Aller is the dark horse in this whole thing. I can't wait to see how this plays out.
Yeah, and if he puts it all together, my God, he can be a damn good quarterback because he has the size, he has the arm, the accuracy with him comes and goes. But Penn State has had some shitty fucking receivers the past couple of years, so it's is that him or is that the receivers? Guys weren't getting open, but it's gonna be interesting. I like the talent in this class.
I do too. I can't wait, guys. Again, the football season comes before then, between now and then. So we're all going to see how things look, and when draft time comes, I'm sure we're all going to have a group of positions that we'll be interested in grabbing in the draft here in Pittsburgh in April. Mike, guys, let me give you a list again. This is preseason, so a lot of stuff besides the important information is a bunch of fluff. Mike, this is the list of 11 on 11. 11 on 11. These are the targets that Aaron Rodgers, in case you want to know how many in the first 2 weeks of practice, 3 weeks of practice, 14 practices, Mike, who he went to the most. I have a list right here of how many times he went to them, how many catches they caught, how many yards they were, and the touchdowns. Again, this means nothing, but this is, again, preseason talk, Mike. Aaron Rodgers in the 3 weeks of practice, 14 practices, 11 on 11s. He went to mostly 45 times DK Metcalf, Mike, for a total of 302 yards and 10 touchdowns. So his favorite target, obviously, and who it should be, was DK Metcalf, who he went to the second most, Mike, with 17 attempts. 45 was DK, with 17 attempts was Roman Wilson. He threw to him 17 times. Roman Wilson caught 10 of them for 147 yards and 1 touchdown. Again, just practice numbers, but this is Aaron Rodgers' targets through all 11 on 11 practice snaps. The next person on the list, Mike, with 14 targets was Pat Freiermuth. He caught 11 of them for 90 yards and 2 touchdowns. Behind him was Kenneth Gainwell, who was targeted 13 times, who caught 11 of the passes for 75 yards, no touchdowns. Scotty Miller was targeted 11 times for 9 catches, 115 of those for 115 yards, no touchdowns. Jalen Warren targeted 9 times, caught 8, 74 yards, no touchdowns. Jonnu Smith targeted 9 times from Aaron Rodgers. He caught 5 for 16 yards and 3 touchdowns. Robert Woods targeted 7 times. He caught 5 Darnell Washington targeted 6 times. He caught 5. Skoranek targeted 6. Calvin Austin targeted 6. Skoranek had 4 catches. Austin had 3. Caleb Johnson, Hayward, Brandon Johnson, and Trey Sermon, all with a very low amount of catches. Obviously not throwing to the running backs too much, Mike. So this is the idea. I don't think this is any different than anybody that would sit down and say, okay, what did Aaron Rodgers do? Who did he throw to during preseason, Mike? With any sense, you would be able to say DK Metcalf should have been the number 1 target. Roman Wilson, Pat Freiermuth, guys like this at the top. I'm not surprised by these guys at all. Again, Mike, these are just practice numbers. Nonetheless, they are the numbers of what happened over the past 3 weeks at Steelers training camp.
I'm surprised his boy, who was talking up in the media, was what's his name? Connor Hayward.
Yeah,
I'm surprised he's not up there.
Mike, they threw to Connor Hayward 3 times. He caught 2 of them for 12 yards. That is his production in 11-on-11s at camp this year.
Hey, that's the season right there for Connor Hayward, brother.
Hey, you're right. Mike, also, and again, this is going to be abbreviated today, guys. Going into the game weekend, I can't believe it, Mike. I can't believe we're already in game 2 of the preseason. With only next time we see you guys on hopefully Victory Monday, we'll only have 1 preseason game left, guys. So it's here. It's really close. Mike, the big topic that a lot of people talked about this week, obviously, was Cam Hayward. Mike, this was a great. This was, I think, what a lot of people was thinking. Maybe the people that aren't great at understanding the contract situation in the NFL, they're just kind of following along. This was reported by Ray Fittipaldo. Mike, he says, what if we can't make any more splash moves because of Cam and his money situation? What if there's one more guy out there, maybe a wide receiver, that we could probably pull? But since Cam, he figured out his contract in February or whatever of last year, and here we are, or whenever the hell that was, Mike, and we're doing it again, and having to deal with his contract right now, maybe we won't be able to land a splash player, that one extra guy that could, go so far in this team in this football season. Mike, what's your opinion on that?
That could hinder it, because if we want to move money from next year to this year, that's adding money onto the salary cap, and I think we have about like 16 million in cap space. I'm pulling it up now. Right now, at least it's saying on Spot Track is saying, or Spot Track, is saying 36. I think over the cap has us around 15 to 16 million. So somewhere in that range, that's where our cap is. I think over the cap's a little bit more accurate. So there's enough out there to go out and get a guy and have money left over to sign guys in case, injuries happen throughout the year. So extending Cam Hayward can affect the roster this year of what they want to do. If they want to go out and get a big name player, if they want to make a trade or get a free agent signing, he's going to demand some money because of who they are as well. So taking care of him is should have to be put onto the back burner, because you have to worry about not him. You got to worry about the other 52 guys on this that's going to make the active roster. You got to think about them before him.
You were just off for 6 months, Cam. Again, why are we dealing with this as we're stepping onto the field, Mike? I don't like it. I think this is just another thing, as you said. There's last-minute shit that we're trying to do to build a team here.
Yeah.
I look at all the times. A friend of mine said all the times that Jerome Bettis took cuts during his career, Mike. And that's what loyalty is sometimes. Maybe it's not putting yourself first and focusing on the team. You had your time to work the contract out. That was your time. Now, why on this team's time, as we're trying to get ready to play football games, do we have to worry about Cam Hayward issues again, Mike? Again, I think the fans are, I think they're starting to see the true colors of Cam. I do. From what I'm hearing people say and seeing what people are putting on Facebook, not too many people, most people were, because they don't care. They're like, yeah, give him his money, whatever. Yeah. But at the end of the day, again, if you're really following what this team is doing and how they're trying to build, that certainly it sends it on a different path if we have to take care of him right now, opposed to any last minute kind of things that we could do to make this team better.
Yeah, I would love for them to go and make a trade for a bigger name receiver and give them a new contract, or even sign Amari Cooper to a decent contract and go, Cam, sorry, man, we don't have enough money for you.
Yeah.
We're trying to win a championship here. Are you with us or you're not?
Absolutely, man. It's crazy to me. Again, it's the timing is just so bad. That's what really rubs me.
Yeah.
Again, do it in a timely manner. Let's play this season and take care of after. Well, I feel like I'm not being,
Like,
I'm not valued. How am I going to play for what I'm making now, bro?
like we said the past couple of days, man. If you wanted to renegotiate because you thought you're going to be an All-Pro, you and your agent should have put that in the contract that there's an escalator clause, and is I become an All-Pro and I hit this guarantee for next year,
And
and it's all been taken care of. So that shows that you were worried how you're going to perform.
And there's no wink, wink, haha.
There's no handshake. There's no handshake deals in the NFL where contracts are about as durable as toilet paper and dipped in water. So if you want anything, you have to get it in writing and as a guarantee.
That's what I'm saying, Mike. I mean, it's NFL contract negotiation. This is kind of a big thing. This isn't filling out your W-2s at McDonald's. This is kind of a serious situation.
It's not like us trying to figure out the compensation for Derpy.
Exactly. So there's no wink, wink, smile, clap, smack. This, you don't leave a contract signing going out. I might just win that next year.
I'll be back next year, Bubby.
I'll be back. You know what I mean? You got to understand why nobody's taking you serious here. Mike, this is something that was on the Steel Curtain fan club. I do want to read this real quick.
Yeah.
This is somebody sent me this. The more I think about Cam Hayward's situation, Jerome Bettis, after a lackluster 2002 season, took a pay cut in 2003. That year, he lost his starting job to Amos Zaraway, regained it in midseason, rushed for 811 yards, and was the bright spot on a 6-10 team. He took a pay cut again in 2004 and took a backseat to Deuce Staley. Staley was injured in Week 8, and Bettis came off the bench again to rush for 941 yards, a Pro Bowl, and a trip to the AFC Championship game. After much reflection, Bettis returned at an even more reduced salary in 2005, ending the season as a Super Bowl champion in his hometown of Detroit. Cam Hayward may need a history lesson, in my humble opinion. Again, you can't make somebody take less money. It's their livelihood. It's their job. But again, Mike, if I'm sitting there with $100 gazillion, I'm not at the last very minute when there's important shit going on bugging my boss to give me a raise.
Yep.
It's just, again, the timing of this stinks. It doesn't matter if you're a football player. It doesn't matter if you work at McDonald's. It doesn't matter what the deal is. It's the timing of this is terrible, in my opinion. I think this is why I hate the situation. Other than that, Mike, again, it's not my money. You're going to do what you're going to do. If it's going to make the team better, take care of the situation. Let's get ready for football. Yeah. The timing on this was terrible.
Exactly.
You gotta love, and people from Pittsburgh, Mike, just are the kind of people. They, they're gonna fall in love with you if you did what Bettis did. Mm-hmm. Cam Hayward is trying to have a Bettis legacy on the way he sees things, and obviously you see what the difference is.
Exactly. Yeah, it's the time. I have no problem with the players trying to get their money because like these contracts outside of the guarantees are worthless. So you get the money that you can, but when you're negotiating the contract and you negotiate for 3 years and you want to renegotiate after one because you told them after you signed you would, no, that should have been in there. That's where you lose me. You're not like a rookie or a guy who signed a 1-year prove-it deal that had a monster year go, hey, where's my guarantee? No, you're a guy who signed a 3-year prove-it deal and wanted the money and the timing. That's where you lost me. And, wanting you to give money or get a pay raise can hurt the team because, you're probably going to hold out games. And that can preclude the team from getting another offensive weapon. That can put this offense over the top to take pressure off of you so you can play even less and, and not get your body beat up more because you're rested more. You're not having to, you and TJ Watt trying to hold down every offense in the NFL. Now you can have a breather. So you got to look at it from both ways, from a financial standpoint, but also from a performance standpoint. I can, and a chance to win, you get your head out of your ass.
All right, so let's get back on the board, Mike, because we don't want to miss anybody today. This is game preview Friday between the Steelers and the Buccaneers. Tomorrow, I'm going to jump right down here to Cody. Cody says Tampa Bay's first-string offense did so good against the defense, they are not going to play any of their starters. That's true. That is true. I guess Baker Mayfield, he looked really good, man. Mark Malone says Deshaun Watson lets the massage therapist play with his instrument. There's a lot of practice there. No two ways about that, Mark. Tortilla says, I mean, you have to say your options are open to pick anyone. Can't show your hand on our teams. Will just jump on us to get said who they think we want. Cody says next year's draft 1 QB 1, wide receiver 1, and 9 offensive linemen. Mark Malone said there were a bunch of chodes, I think, coming out of college. Cody says, I hope we don't get Garrett. Who is this? Neismer, Mike?
Garrett Nussmeier from
Nussmeier.
LSU?
Yeah,
LSU
you like him a little bit, right?
I like his swagger.
Yeah. Let's see. RB says, no offense, Mike, but Penn State ever getting ranked high is BS with the absolute refusal to play anyone worth a wet fart outside of the mandatory in Ohio State brother. And Michigan. That's the whole Big Ten.
That's everyone for the most part.
Yeah, exactly. When people talk about how great the Big Ten, I think, oh my God,
we play no one, baby.
No, if you're one of the top few teams, you literally play nobody.
Yeah, and when we're ranked high, we play worse.
Well, that's because
we could play a bottom feeding team unranked, we blow them out of the water. We play a bottom feeding team like our first 3 games against Nevada, Florida International, and Villanova. Come on, if that doesn't move the needle, I don't know what does. I guarantee you all 3 of those games are going to be close games because we're ranked number 2.
RB says, I'm not all hard on just Penn State about it either. Anyone who does that shit. Look at Ohio State's first 5 games of their schedule last year. And I don't remember who they are, but I remember talking about it, Mike, because they were playing like schools that you never even heard of. It's not even the usual cupcake schools. I think they're just making shit up, some of these Ohio State.
I think so.
Some of their opponents, Mike.
Okay. They do open up against Texas, and Texas coming in number 1. But the very next game.
Wait, who's this? Ohio State?
Ohio State. Their next game is against Grambling.
Yeah, come on, Grambling.
And then Ohio.
In Ohio, and that's very weird to have a Texas as a first game. That's not normal for Ohio State.
Yeah,
they get the apple dumpling gang in the first game of the season.
You used to see that like in the late 90s, early 2000s, like the top teams would go against each other, and now everyone's just scheduled.
That's why Penn State doesn't play Pitt, Mike. And I'm not saying this in a way to offend you. Nobody wants hard games early. Nobody wants a game that's meaningful early, especially in college football, when one loss could screw up your whole season. Especially like a rivalry game. Like absolutely.
That. Like in the last series, we went 3-1 against Pitt. But that one loss, that fucked our entire season.
In the games, there's I think another 1 or 2 of those games were very close. It could have went the other way. So Penn State don't want to. I don't blame them. You don't want to lose that game early because now I have to play 11 more games that I know I'm not going to be able to get to be a champion. So I get it in a sense, but on the other hand, it's like
you hate it.
Yeah, because now whenever a team is sitting there at 5-0, they're going, "Oh, this team is the number 1 seed. They're undefeated."
Yeah, like who'd you play?
You played Ohio, bro.
Yeah,
you played Ohio.
Okay, but I'll take the wins anyway.
We got about 10 minutes, Mike.
I'm sorry.
We got to blow through some messages here real quick. I just think Penn State, Notre Dame are the biggest offenders in benefit. Yeah, I agree. I said this for some time.
I freely admit it.
Cody said Rodgers needs to get his old ass on the field. We got a game to win. That's right. Come on.
I got money on this game, Rodgers. Get your ass out
pussies. There. Something you don't want to. You don't want in football. It's pussies. Tortilla, let Cam sit, and we have Harmon and Black. I don't get me wrong. I'm so excited about Black and Harmon. I don't care if Cam's not playing. I mean, he was going to play tomorrow regardless. Cody, could we do something with Cam where that we reconstruct his contract, add another year, pay him less this year, and guarantee money next year, where we have $105 million in cap, like a little extra $7 million next year?
That's kind of what we did with him, and it kind of got it into the situation.
Tortilla says that Cody, we could do all sorts of things to help. The thing is, we just paid him, and he's 36 years old. It's more about the principle than actually. It's the principle. You're right. Than actually being able to do it. No one's bigger than the team. He either wants to be here or he doesn't. Sticky B, what you know about Sticky B? Sticky B says trade Cam to Washington for Scary Terry. Hey, if Cam's a top 3 defensive lineman, this shouldn't be an issue, right?
Hey, Cam Hayward's the number 2 player in the NFL, according to that one website.
If he's the number 2 player in the NFL, that should not be an issue. Washington should welcome it with open arms.
To Scary Terry, Jaden Daniels ain't a first.
Cam skirted farther
Father Time.
last year, but he will not keep beating him. I agree. I thought his season was uncharacteristic, especially of the 2 seasons prior. He was out with the hurt vagina. I'm like, remember I kept going on about his hurt vagina 2 seasons ago. He missed a bunch of time, and then so again, you're right. Last year,
about that.
Unless Mike, maybe if he gets his money, he'll play to that level again next year.
He just needs that coin, maybe. He just feel valued.
Cody, yeah, but do you really think Cam's going to sit out though? I think they get this taken care of. I do. Yeah. They're going to get something figured out.
Who's going to? Yeah, I think the Steelers are going to blink first because they're going to be like, all right, hey, we like the team that we have. We don't need to spend this extra money. Here you go. But if we go out and get a receiver, then it's going to get really interesting.
W2's at McDonald's Classic. Tortilla says that Cody. I don't know. I hope not. But when he was asked if he would miss regular season games if he wanted paid, he said he would. Yeah, I think he has no problem doing it. And I think this is where his legacy starts to get dented. Mike, again, he worked awfully hard to be the nice guy in Pittsburgh his whole entire career. And again, it's not like he's doing anything that's bad. I just don't. I think it's the way he's gone about it and the timing and everything like this, Mike. And again, after just getting his contract taken care of at 36 years old, this is not what we want to be seeing as Steeler fans. Tortilla says, like, why would I pay you even more if you can't even play out the contract that you just got? Yeah. Covey TJ just threw up the piece to mess with us. I don't know. It just sounds fishy. Tom Petty. What's the guy that's for it? I can't think of the guy that said that, but I know the movie you're talking about.
Petty.
Tom Petty. I can picture the guy's face in my head. Me
too.
And I love that actor. I think he's freaking hysterical. Tortilla TJ was on contract year, though. Cam just got paid last year. If he thought he was worth more, he wouldn't have signed for less. But he did give him the, hey, guys, I'm going to be back after my all-pro season. So we all had to just assume that this was actually really going to happen and, put it into account. As the team sits down with real actual numbers sitting there trying to figure shit out, Cam said he's going to go to the all-pro game, and I'll be back. So, I mean, you have to no defensive lineman who makes more than Cam is anywhere near his age. Mark Malone says the Junies will play hardball in the Grove. Oh, jeez.
God damn it, Mark.
What's up? Phil Still? Always great to see you, Phil Still on the board. Ready for the big game tomorrow, brother. Thanks, Cody. We appreciate that, brother. And
Cody, you should have been here last year, the year before we heard what Ryan was going to do to Cam's groin to get him back out there.
I don't know what the hell he's talking about.
You're doing something with Cam's vagina to get him back out there.
Phil Still says that's why that locker room wanted to get a 36 a ring and 7 told him he'll do it. 36 was about to, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's
some players put the logo first, others put their nameplate first.
Yeah. And I know. Guys, let's get into some predictions, Mike.
Yes.
I'm going to do some over and unders today. I want to get how you think that the Steelers are going to do, and I'm going to blow through the schedule for the weekend real quick.
Yeah.
To just get an idea what's going on in the NFL in this second week of the preseason, Mike. Let's get to some over or unders.
Yes.
Mike, over or under? Guys on the board participate as well. Here we go. Over or under, Mike. A half of caused turnover. Will our defense cause a half a turnover? Over or under?
I'm taking the over.
Are you doing that because there was none last week?
Yes, we do.
I think
because I predicted like 3 last week or something like that.
My thought process was this, though. That Jacksonville team wasn't that good, and Tampa Bay does appear to be better, and we didn't get any turnovers against them. Mike, I say we get no turnovers this week, and it's going to bring question up on why the Steelers can't cause any turnovers. That's where I am on my over-under. I'm saying under on that one.
That's an accurate assessment.
Mike, over or under? 2.5 passing touchdowns. 2.5 passing touchdowns.
Take the over, baby.
Gonna do better.
We got Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson.
I think that we're gonna do. We might do more, but it might be less than last week. If we do maybe 3 this week. Last week Thompson had 3 and Rudy had 1. I'm gonna say they'll have 3 passing touchdowns. Mike, 2.5 rushing touchdowns, knowing that they're going to be running the ball a lot more. Mike, 2.5 rushing touchdowns.
Under.
Under?
Under.
All right. Let's see. Mike, Skylar Thompson's going to be playing a lot, of course, with situations we have, and Mason is going to be starting, but Skylar Thompson, 150 yards passing, more or less. Again, you could go by what you've seen last week, but again, this is a different team. It's a different time.
Yeah.
Skylar Thompson, 150 yards, over or under?
I'm going to take the over.
Take the over on that?
Yeah.
All right. All right, let's see. Roman Wilson, 2.5 receptions.
I'm taking over. It's just going to be one more than he had last week. I'm going to take the over.
Darnell Washington, 2.5 receptions, over or under?
I'm going to take the under.
Take the under on that?
Yeah.
And finally, Mike, the question everybody hates to hear, but we always have to do, 1/2 of a devastating injury, a player that will be a part of this team this year, Mike, that we lose for the season, as we've seen every year for the past 3 years. Mike, 1/2 of a lost player.
Under.
Under. All right.
Under. All day, every day.
All right.
At least in the preseason, taking the under.
All right, let's look at the schedule for this week, Mike. Today, the Tennessee Titans travel to Atlanta to play the Falcons. That's a 7:00 game this evening, and the other game is a late game where the Chiefs travel out to Seattle. A 10:00 start, Mike. The Chiefs and the Seahawks. Tomorrow, the game starts at 1:00 when the Packers travel to Indianapolis. Also at 1:00, New England travels to Minnesota. Which, again, a lot of these teams are already there. They had a bunch of joint practices, as we mentioned earlier. Mike Vrabel did get thrown to the ground again during a scuffle between the Patriots and the Vikings yesterday.
As a player, I'm loving it. As the owner, I'm like, oh, Jesus, Mike.
Three of these games are 1:00 games, and I'm about to say, Mike, the Dolphins at the Lions is 1:00. The Browns at the Eagles is 1:00. The Panthers at the Texans is a 1:00 game tomorrow. Starting at 4:00 game, San Francisco at the Raiders. Is a 4:00, and then 7:00 games look like this. The Chargers at the Rams, a battle in LA. The Steelers and the Buccaneers, of course. The Jets and the Giants, a classic always in the preseason, Mike. And then the Ravens at Cowboys. And then the last game tomorrow is a 9:30 game Saturday night. It's the Cardinals at the Broncos. And then going into Sunday, we have 3 games. And Sunday is 1:00, the Jaguars at the Saints. 8:00 game is the Bills at the Bears, and then the other 8:00 game on Sunday night, Mike, is the Bengals and the Commanders. The Steelers will be back at it just in a few days after that, as Thursday, less than a week, guys, from right now. The Steelers will be wrapping up regular season as they finish up against the Panthers in Carolina next Thursday. It's 7:00 p.m. Mike, camp is done. The joint practices is done. Tomorrow night, Game 2 of the preseason will be done, and we will only just be days away from wrapping it up against Carolina. Again, it'll be long because we play Thursday, then the week off, and then the Jets. So we get a little bit of a break. So whatever happens between then and the regular season will be the final preparations, Mike. See if we do bring in anybody. It does fall in that 10 to 12 day timeline that we were given on maybe adding another wide receiver. So things could happen on that time. And if guys are beat up and a little bruised, Mike, from the preseason, they get a little bit extra time to heal before the season starts. So that's the way that it plays out from here on. Mike, I do want to get your prediction, though. Again, doesn't mean anything. This is almost impossible to do because it's preseason. What is your prediction for the Steelers Tampa Bay score tomorrow night?
I'm going to go Pittsburgh 28, Tampa Bay 32.
All right, I'm going to say Tampa Bay 31, Pittsburgh 21. Tampa 31, Pittsburgh 21. Let's grab a couple more of these messages on the board, Mike, and we are going to get ready to wrap it up. I did promise Mike he has a special thing that he has going on this weekend, so we're going to bounce a little early today and keep it short and sweet, but we will make it up to you. I promise that, guys. Let's get through some of these messages, Mike, and then we'll get you moving along. Let's see. I'm going to go right here with Tortilla. He says, I figured it out. Players hit their head all day at practice and then hit a pothole on the way home. Doing that for a few seasons gives them CTE. That's why all of our vets get stupid, because we do have the potholes here in Pittsburgh. No two ways about that.
PennDOT, get your head out your asses, protect my Stellars.
Cody says, we were so worried about our starters getting hurt in the preseason. Should we be worried about them getting injured in the first game? Tomlin lives in his fears. It's interesting because if you don't play and get into playing shape, you are more susceptible to injury. So it's an interesting take, Cody. Tortilla says that Cody, a few drives in the preseason is not going to make a difference for our vets. Mike T would rather see players who aren't going to make the roster to see if they should make the roster, which has always been the case. It just the pendulum just swung to one side, just kind of stayed there. Is what's happening. It's not swinging both ways. It's all about the rookies now, and not about getting reps in for the veterans. Cody says, I thought all these guys were in game shape. I thought if an injury were to occur, wouldn't you want it to be now so you could get a replacement on the fly? Yeah, Cody. I mean, yeah, you're kind of on my side of the fence, which again, I don't think. I don't think either side is. Again, it's my opinion. I would have some guys playing.
I get where Cody's coming from, but I hate to see my starters hurt in a meaningless preseason game. It's weird. I know. I'd rather see it in week one, but I get where you're coming from. If we know it happened, then okay, now we have time to go out and grab someone who's still of value.
Tortilla says injuries will find us. No need to find injuries first. Cody says, I'm saying have them all play half a game is in week 3 and 3/4 of a game next week. Phil still says over on the over and under. And then Tortilla says most vets really don't need to play against vanilla schemes to get ready to face actual schemes. So again, we'll thing is we are going to find out, guys. We'll see when the season starts how well our starters come together and play on the field. And guys that just met each other this summer are all going to come together and play football next this football season, and we will again see how that turns out, guys. But Mike, go ahead.
I was gonna say we punt on the first drive. We're all gonna be screaming they should have been out there. They
yeah.
scored a touchdown on the first drive. Like, yeah, we called it. They did it right.
Mike, why don't you call and tell everybody about the website?
The Yinzers.com. Make sure you check it out, everyone. We got all of our links over there to all of our social media. We got a merch store over there. The Dumb Thoughts will be coming in hot and heavy. Definitely after the last preseason game, there's gonna be a lot more content on the Dumb Thoughts because I'll have my roster predictions and stuff like that, and predictions for the season themselves. So yeah, check it out. The Yinzers.com.
Real quick, Tortilla says, right, we will find out. I'm just lying to myself, so I know that's where we're all at.
Crack it open, brother.
Believe me, we all walk away thinking the same thing. We want our team to do well, and man.
You know what's the old saying? There's more than one way to skin a cat. So,
yeah.
Well, we'll find out which one's the right way soon.
Well, we'll find something out, guys. Mike, also, I do want to say the Charleston Battery, they come to town to play our soccer team, the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. That game starts the same exact time as the Steeler game. That game is going to be played at Highmark Field. Like, if you had happened to go see the Hounds instead of the Steelers, you do get to have a meet and greet with Jake the Snake Roberts. So do what you want with your Saturday in Pittsburgh. I know what I'm going to be doing, but I would certainly like to meet Jake the Snake Roberts, Mike.
I would too. I'd bring my own little pet snake and have a go after him.
And then also, Mike, the Pirates do start a 3-game series with the Cubs today at Wrigley Field. All 3 games throughout the weekend are 2:20 starts. All right, let's get into it, guys. This is the trivia question of the day, Mike. How well do you know the enemy? How well do you know your opponent? Here we go. This former Steelers safety won a Super Bowl. I wrote that wrong. I'm sorry. I kind of screwed it up, but I'm going to ask anyway.
Rod Woodson.
What's that?
Rod Woodson.
No. Well, you got it wrong, so I'm going to mark that down.
No,
that's your final answer. This former Pittsburgh safety coached the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the late 90s, Mike. This former Pittsburgh Steelers safety coached the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the late 90s. Take a minute to think it over. We're live 5 days a week right here, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every day right here on YouTube. Throw your answer up on the board if you got it, guys. This former Steelers safety was a Tampa Bay head coach in the late 90s. Mike looks like he has the answer. Give it a second to see if anybody else wants to throw their answer up. Mike, what's your thought process on this?
Well, there's only one that I can think of, brother.
Okay. All right.
Yep, he was a member of the Super Steelers.
He won one Super Bowl.
One. Hey, he was a member of the
Yeah.
Super Steelers at one point.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Question of the day: this former Steelers safety, he won a Super Bowl with the Steelers. He won one Super Bowl. He later became a head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the late 90s. Mike, go ahead and tell us who it was. This one's, I figured this one will be a softball, but
Tony Dungy.
Tony Scrungy Dungy. There he is, my man. He was, Mike, on one of the Super Bowl winning teams in the 70s. I think he got drafted in 70. He got drafted in 77 or 78 or whatever it was. Or he came to the Steelers. He won one Super Bowl.
He was on the, 79, 80 Super Bowl winning team.
I think, however that played out time-wise. But that is correct, guys. The answer was Tony Dungy. Cody says, I was born in 95. That's cool, man.
Oof.
Absolutely.
Making me feel old over
And you
here,
are.
Cody.
You're very old. Mike, why don't you, I'm sorry. Anything before we do get ready to wrap things up for today?
No. Thank you, everyone, for bearing with me today.
What who do you what specific player are you looking forward to seeing tomorrow?
More of Caleb. It's going to be three: Caleb Johnson, Derek Harmon, Roman Wilson. Those three right there, baby.
Yeah, no, those three. I mean, I would have to say those three, and then maybe throw in some Darnell Washington. I want to see a little bit more at what he's going to do. Yeah. Also, I do want to see what Peyton Wilson and who's the new linebacker? Jack Sawyer.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, Mike, and I love these games in a sense. I don't love them as much as regular season, but again, you could always take something away from preseason games, and that's what we look to do. And we'll be back first thing next week, Mike. Talk about this and so much more. Excuse me. This game we'll get into all the scoop, all the details, how everything went, what we're gonna have to do next to get ready for Carolina on Thursday, guys. Just a short week, so the celebration is going to be short next week. We'll be getting ready for Carolina pretty quick after that. But besides for that, I hope everybody has a great, safe weekend. Mike, I do want to tell everybody, if you hadn't had a chance to swing by any of our social media sites, do so, and swing by and hit the follow button. Keep up with what Two Dumb Yinzers are doing on a daily basis. You can check us out at Facebook. You can check us out at X, formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, Threads, and even on TikTok. Swing by and just hit the follow button. Also, if you haven't had a chance today, guys, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and hit the share down below. That helps us out a lot. We appreciate that. I do want to say thank you to everybody. I do want to say thank you so much to everybody for coming and hanging out with us today. We certainly appreciate each and every one of you. We truly, honestly do. We wouldn't do it without you guys. You are amazing. Thank you. I want to say thank you to everybody on the board. You guys are great and always keep things interesting here on the show, and everybody at home or whatever capacity. If you're in the car, you're at the gym, you got earbuds in, or you're just watching on your TV, I want to say thank you as well. I want to make sure everybody has a great, safe weekend enjoying this football game. Get the terrible towels, get them ready, because we are getting in shape, Mike. In a few weeks, we kick off the season with the Jets. So get out, get the towel, get your waving motion in preparation and ready to go.
My wrist already cracked in pain over here, brother.
Let's see. Cody said I was watching those games in my pop sack. I remember those games. I seen the 70s Steelers from my pop sack, man. What else? Cody says I want to see what the first string offense looks like on TV. I do too, man. We're all chomping at the bit to see all these new additions that we made on the Steelers this year, man. Everybody's ready to see it play out. So, guys, I do thank you. I'm seeing everybody on the board. I appreciate all you guys. You have a great weekend as well. Mike, anything else, sir, before we do wrap it up?
I got nothing. I'll catch you all next week.
All right, Mike, we hope that you have a safe, a short vacation is what I'm going to call it. Mike is busy over the weekend, so that's why we are kind of shortening the show up today. But I do want to say we hope you have a safe trip, Mike, and you get back and we get back to the show and get into the Steelers, because, again, Mike, the Steelers wrap up preseason Thursday. So if we're back,
it was the Thursday game, man.
Yeah, so this time next week it's done. Preseason is done this time next week, and we're at that point getting ready for the Jets. So, guys, please stay safe. Have a great weekend. Thanks for hanging out with us all week. We appreciate you greatly. Go Steelers. And we'll see you back on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody. For the Steelers Central mobile studio, you've got Mike, Ryan, the Two Dumb Yinzers. Have a great weekend.